Welcome to this explainer, where we are going to dive deep into some truly groundbreaking neuroscience from 2022 to 2024. We are going to reveal exactly what happens inside your baby's brain when you look away, and I promise you, understanding this will completely change how you parent. You see, scientists can now actually watch, in real time, what happens inside an infant's nervous system in the precise seconds, literally seconds, after a parent stops responding to them. And I have to tell you right up front, the neurological sequence they discovered, it is not what anyone predicted. It's a sequence that answers the question every single parent secretly asks themselves during every distracted moment. You know, when you're just quickly checking your phone while they're babbling. You might be wondering if you're causing some sort of invisible damage. Well, as we'll see today, the answer turns out to be far more forgiving and honestly far more miraculous than you ever feared. This is why you must understand the biology of what's really going on. Let's get right into it.
Let's start with the secret fear that every exhausted parent has when their baby cries inconsolably and absolutely nothing works. This is a fear we are going to scientifically dismantle today. So let's be real for a second. Picture this. It is 2 a.m. You are running on empty. You've done everything on the checklist. You've fed them, changed them, burped them, rocked them. You've tried the white noise machine. You've checked the temperature in the room. And your baby, they are still crying. And it's not just a fuss. It's that specific, piercing cry that sounds like something is deeply, genuinely wrong. In that overwhelming moment, a creeping fear always slides in right under your exhaustion, doesn't it? You think, what is happening inside my baby right now that I cannot reach? Are they suffering? Am I failing them as a parent? We are going to look closely at what is genuinely physiologically occurring for your little one in those exact moments, because the answer is definitely not what you think.
For decades, we were told this old myth that an inconsolable cry means your baby is experiencing narrative suffering. But groundbreaking new research proves that the new scientific reality is actually entirely different. They are actually experiencing a pure physiological discharge state. Let me break that down. The old belief assumed that babies feel exactly what we feel, just in a smaller body. When they cry, we automatically imagine they are having a complex thought like, I am in pain, I am alone, and I am terrified about what that means for my survival. We project our entire adult emotional landscape right onto them. But the new scientific reality shows us something completely different. Your baby literally does not have the cognitive architecture to experience existential suffering yet. What they are experiencing is a full-body, overwhelming physiological state that is moving through their nervous system like a massive wave. It's biological, not psychological. To explain this like you're 5, your baby's primitive subcortical brain is running at full volume, but their prefrontal cortex, the part that actually creates the story of suffering, is barely running at all. Your baby is born with a fully developed subcortical brain. That's the part that handles ancient survival functions and basic physical sensations. But their prefrontal cortex, which is the area responsible for self-awareness and the complex narrative experience of emotions, is deeply underdeveloped at this stage. Think about it like this. If your emotional experience as an adult is like a richly complex symphony with a melody, complex harmony, and poetic lyrics, your baby's emotional experience is like pure sound out of an amplifier. It is sheer volume without any content. It's intensity, completely without narrative. It is absolutely critical to realize that this overwhelming emotional flooding is not a message of pain, but a biological system simply emptying itself out. Your baby's nervous system is brand new. It is almost unimaginably raw. They take in the bright lights, the loud sounds, the scratchy fabric of a onesie, the tiny temperature changes, and they do it without any filter whatsoever. When that cumulative stimulation stacks up across a long day, the young nervous system reaches its absolute physical threshold, and it has to discharge. The primary way it discharges is by crying. Your baby is not telling you something is wrong with them. Their nervous system is simply telling you that it is full and it needs to empty. Sometimes a baby cannot be comforted because they actually don't need to be comforted in that exact second. They need to complete the biological cycle. They need to empty the cup.
Section 1. Inside the infant brain. The FNIRS revolution. Now we're going to look at the incredible new technology making this research possible. For decades, scientists could only guess what was happening neurologically when a parent went still. But using new portable FNIRS brain scanning caps, they discovered a truly shocking truth. It takes just 30 to 45 seconds of a parent looking down at a phone for the baby's right prefrontal cortex to show measurable deactivation. A pivotal 2022 study at University College London found that when a parent stops engaging and their face goes blank, the baby's brain registers the loss of that social response almost instantly.
The FNIRS technology, which basically uses light to measure blood flow in the brain, showed that the oxygenated blood flow in the baby's right prefrontal cortex dropped significantly within half a minute. This isn't just a behavioral reaction, like a baby pouting. It is a rapid, fundamental shift in their neural activity caused entirely by a brief social disconnection. Think of this area of the brain as a literal safety light. When you go still and look at your phone, that glow fades out and the safety light turns off. In adult neuroscience, the right prefrontal cortex is heavily associated with monitoring social safety. In your baby, this region is constantly checking the environment, asking, is the world reliably responsive? Am I secure? Is my caregiver here? When you are looking at your baby, smiling and responding to their little coos and babbles, this safety light in their brain glows brightly. But the absolute moment you withdraw your attention and your face goes blank, that glow literally, measurably dims. The infant brain interprets your lack of responsiveness as the withdrawal of a fundamental biological safety signal. Section 2. Disconnection stages, a 3-stage sequence. Let's break down exactly what happens next. Ignoring this neurological shift is no longer an option because scientists have mapped the exact sequence your baby goes through when that safety light dims. Let's trace this timeline together, building from a dopamine disruption to a cortisol rise and finally into defensive withdrawal. In the first 15 seconds, your baby tries to win you back. From 15 to 45 seconds, when winning you back fails, their stress system begins to mobilize. And after 45 seconds of continued unresponsiveness, they enter a profound state of biological conservation. Each of these stages isn't just a mood swing. It is driven by a completely different cascade of neurochemicals. And what happens with their stress hormones here is going to fascinate you. In the first 15 seconds, the baby's expected social reward fails to arrive. To explain this simply, it is exactly like pressing a broken light switch over and over, just hoping the light will come on. During this social bid stage, your baby will actually exaggerate their smiles. They might point, and they'll increase their vocalizations. Inside their brain, their mesolimbic dopamine system is firing away, eagerly anticipating the wonderful warm response it usually gets from you. But when your face remains glued to your screen or you're just staring blankly into space, the dopamine signal is abruptly disrupted. The brain experiences what scientists call a reward prediction error. This causes the baby to press that social light switch even harder, trying everything they know to get you to react before they eventually give up. By 45 seconds, the amygdala, which is the brain's threat center, activates. And Boston University researchers found that the stress hormone cortisol begins rising measurably in the baby's saliva. During this distress escalation stage, the baby transitions from a social strategy to a pure distress strategy. They might start crying, arching their back, or looking away from you entirely. A truly groundbreaking 2023 study used ultra-low-volume saliva testing to prove that cortisol spikes as early as 60 seconds into a disconnection. Think about that. 1 minute. The brain's threat detection center has essentially triggered the body's primary stress alarm, initiating a rapid, measurable hormonal cascade just because your face was unresponsive. Finally, the baby shifts into a conservation state. This is a physiological withdrawal where the prefrontal cortex profoundly deactivates to protect the nervous system. After 45 seconds, if the parent still hasn't responded, the baby stops trying. They avert their gaze, they slump their posture, and they often start self-soothing behaviors, like putting their hands in their mouth. A 2024 study from the Karolinska Institute showed that this defensive withdrawal actually leaves a measurable trace in their developing stress response architecture. The baby has effectively shut down their outward social system to endure the disconnection. This is why you must understand the sequence, because if we don't know what's happening, we might just think our baby is finally calming down, when in reality, they are biologically shutting down. Section 3. The biology of repair, reversing the stress. This is where the story completely changes. Now, if this explainer stopped right here, it would be terrifying, wouldn't it? But here is the ultimate reframing. The repair matters just as much as the rupture. So the crucial point is this 4-step pathway, which shows that a rapid, genuine reconnection acts as a literal neurological reset button for your baby. Ruptures, those ordinary, everyday moments of distraction where you check a text or zone out, are completely inevitable. But when you follow a rupture with a warm reunion, the baby's brain undergoes a massive chemical shift. Reconnecting doesn't just halt the stress response. It actively reverses the cortisol trajectory and builds deep resilience. The repair actually provides the infant's developing stress system with a positive, necessary learning experience. When you come back to your baby with warmth, you flood their brain with oxytocin, telling the body, false alarm, you are safe, and immediately reversing that cortisol trajectory. Oxytocin is the ultimate social bonding hormone. When you look back at your baby, when you smile and you speak to them contingently, their little body releases a massive surge of it. To explain this like you're 5, this oxytocin acts directly on the hypothalamus in their brain, basically slamming the brakes on the stress system. It physically accelerates the clearance of cortisol from their bloodstream and effectively resets their threat detection threshold right back to 0. You are literally flushing the stress out of their body with your smile. And this brilliantly illustrates how a warm reunion restores brain synchrony, much like two instruments finding their perfect rhythm together again. Remember that 2022 UCL study I mentioned? Well, they used dual FNIRS caps on both the mother and the infant simultaneously. They found that during a warm face-to-face interaction, the parent's brainwaves and the baby's brainwaves actually physically synchronize. The disconnection of a still face when you look at your phone silences one of those instruments. But when you come back with genuine warmth, the interpersonal neural synchrony is completely restored. The faster and warmer you return, the quicker your two nervous systems lock back into that beautiful biological rhythm. It is a literal dance of brainwaves. We must replace the old myth that a momentary distraction ruins your child with the new scientific truth. Rapid, warm repair actively builds resilience architecture. The old myth tells you that every single time you look at your phone, you are permanently damaging your baby's attachment security. As a parent, that guilt is crushing. But scientifically, that is simply false. The new scientific truth is that repair is not merely the absence of harm. Repair is an active, neurological event with its own profound benefits. By disconnecting and then warmly reconnecting, you are giving your baby's nervous system a critical workout in emotional recovery. You are teaching their biology how to bounce back. This powerful quote from the pioneer of the still face paradigm proves that you are not just stopping something bad when you reconnect. You're actively doing something neurologically good. Dr. Edward Tronick, who originally discovered the still face effect way back in the 1970s, insists that perfect parenting is a complete illusion. He found that even the most attuned, incredible parents are only fully synchronized with their babies about 30% of the time. Think about that, just 30%. The other 70% is a constant, natural dance of misattunement and repair. That very rhythm of rupture and repair is exactly what teaches a child's brain that the world is fundamentally safe. Okay, let's dive into these actionable takeaways, because your baby's nervous system isn't grading your perfection, it's just building a model that relationships can safely recover. First, you absolutely do not need to stare unblinking at your baby 12 hours a day. Research clearly shows that brief, highly contingent, fully present exchanges are what actually matter. Second, when you are distracted, because you are human and you absolutely will be, just make your return count. Don't just give a quick glance back. Return with genuine warmth, real eye contact, and a big smile. And finally, stop panicking over ordinary life. The biological serve and return rhythm doesn't demand sustained high-performance robotic parenting. It just requires reliably good enough responsiveness. Why this matters for your baby's future is huge. This dual encoding of rupture and repair provides their stress system with a positive, resilience-building learning experience that will last a lifetime. When you put down your phone and smile with them, your baby's brain isn't just logging that the scary moment is over. It is actively recording a brand new rule about how the universe works. It's writing the code, the person who loves me goes away sometimes, but they always come back. This relationship recovers. That specific neurological recording is the very foundation of lifelong emotional resilience. It teaches their developing brain that distress is a temporary, completely survivable state. I'll leave you with this provocative question to answer down in the comments, because understanding this shifts you from just managing a parenting problem to witnessing an absolute miracle of human biology. Think back to the last time you were distracted, your baby started to fuss, and you finally scooped them up with a warm smile. Did you notice their shoulders drop? Did you see their breathing slow down right against your chest? You weren't just comforting them, you were manually resetting their neurochemistry and building the architecture of their future resilience. You are not just a parent, you are a biological instrument of safety. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer. I really want to hear your experiences, so see you in the comments.